Welcome to the Blake Lab podcast. Not just theory, practical science for real people. I'm Dr. Ethan Blake, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. Let me ask you something unsettling, but necessary. What if the green smoothie you drank last night, the one you made with love and good intentions, was actually preparing a stroke while you slept? No pain, no pressure. You go to bed feeling fine, proud even, of your clean eating. Then morning comes, and something's off. Your words don't land right. Your balance feels drunk, and your arm won't move. I've seen this scene play out more times than I care to admit. In good people, healthy people, disciplined people. And the culprit isn't cigarettes or sugar or skipping cardio. It's vegetables. Yes, you heard me right. The same leafy greens and crunchy brain foods the wellness world worships can, in certain bodies, at a certain age, quietly backfire. Like a well-meaning guest who leaves the back door open for something dangerous to sneak in. Today, I want to walk with you, calmly, clearly, through 5 vegetables you probably have in your fridge right now that, when eaten the wrong way, at the wrong time, or in the wrong condition, can increase your risk of stroke without you ever feeling it coming. If you're over 60, if you value your independence, your clarity, your ability to wake up whole, this episode matters. So grab a warm drink, settle in, and let's talk about spinach, the so-called superfood that might just be too strong for its own good. Let's start with the one that fooled even me for years. Spinach. Yes, Popeye's go-to power green, the darling of smoothies, detoxes, and clean-eating blogs everywhere. If you're over 60, you've probably been told, maybe by your own doctor, eat your greens, especially spinach. It's good for your heart, your bones, your brain. And, in many ways, it is. But here's the twist. In older bodies, spinach, especially when consumed raw, daily, and in large amounts, can quietly morph from superfood to silent saboteur. Why? One word: oxalates. Spinach is packed with these natural compounds that bind to calcium in your bloodstream. In a young, well-hydrated body, the kidneys can usually handle this. But in older adults, with age-related kidney decline or mild chronic dehydration, oxalates can accumulate. And when they do, they form calcium oxalate crystals, the microscopic shards that stiffen arteries, disrupt flow, and quietly lay the groundwork for blood clots. Let me tell you about Howard Ellis, a 77-year-old retired dentist from Pennsylvania. Sharp as a tack, spry, and proud of his nightly green smoothie, raw spinach, banana, almond milk. He told me once, "Doc, I was feeding my brain." Until one morning, his wife found him collapsed at the kitchen table. Slurred speech, limp arm, stroke. His labs? Kidney function below normal, abnormal calcium levels, stiff, narrow arteries. No sugar overload, no smoking history, just too much spinach. Too often, too raw. What haunts me is that Howard had no warning signs, no headaches, no dizziness, just a good night's sleep and a biochemical storm building in silence. He survived, but now speech therapy is part of his daily life, and he told me, through tears, "I thought I was doing everything right. And that is exactly why we need to talk about this. Because food doesn't come with warning labels. Because healthy doesn't mean safe for every age. Spinach isn't evil, but raw spinach every day after 60, especially if you're on blood thinners, calcium supplements, or diuretics, that's not a green light. That's a red flag. So, before you toss those leafy greens into the blender tonight, pause, reassess, talk to your doctor, and please cook your spinach. Steam it, sauté it, give your kidneys a break and your arteries a chance to breathe. Now, if spinach raised your eyebrows, wait until you hear what a humble cucumber can do to your blood pressure while you sleep. Now, cucumbers. I know what you're thinking. Come on, Doc. Not cucumbers, too. Crunchy, hydrating, practically water with a green jacket. How could that possibly be dangerous? But here's where biology doesn't care about reputation. Cucumbers are natural diuretics. That means they make you pee more, pulling water and sodium out of your body. In a 30-year-old, that's fine. In a 65-year-old, especially one on blood pressure meds, already prone to dehydration, that can quietly unbalance the entire circulatory system while you sleep. You see, after 60, your arteries don't bounce back the way they used to. The autonomic nervous system slows. Your brain, the command setter, becomes extra sensitive to small shifts in hydration and pressure. And cucumbers, eaten at the wrong time, especially late at night, can quietly tip that balance. Meet Mrs. Dolores Green, 81, retired schoolteacher from Ohio. Her nightly snack was simple: a few cucumber slices, lemon water, maybe a cracker. It helped her sleep, she said, felt light and healthy. Until the dizziness began. Then the blurred vision, and one terrifying morning, slurred speech, confusion, a mini-stroke. No trauma, no fall, just the slow dehydration of her bloodstream overnight, combined with diuretic meds she'd been on for years. Her blood pressure had dipped dangerously low in the early hours, then spiked suddenly at dawn. That spike, that fragile window of pressure turbulence, was enough to dislodge a clot and send it toward her brain. What's wild is that her diet looked perfect on paper. No sugar, no processed food, just clean, green habits. But when we looked deeper, her electrolytes were off, her kidneys were stressed, and those harmless cucumbers? They were acting like tiny saboteurs, draining just enough fluid each night to destabilize her brain's oxygen supply. She told me later, "I didn't feel it happening. I just woke up and something was wrong." That's how most of these stories go. So if you're over 60, especially if you're on blood pressure meds, diuretics, or have trouble staying hydrated, don't snack on cucumbers before bed. They're not evil, but they don't belong in your nighttime routine. Not anymore. Instead, end your evening with something gentle: a slice of avocado, a few soaked walnuts, or warm herbal tea. Something that supports your vessels, not drains them. And now, let's move from the hydrating to the hormonal, because next up is a so-called brain food that could be quietly crashing your thyroid and starving your neurons. Let's talk about broccoli. Now we come to broccoli, the poster child of clean eating. Steamed, raw, roasted. It shows up in every health magazine, every meal plan, every doctor's "eat this" list. And truth be told, broccoli can be fantastic. Rich in antioxidants, fiber, vitamin C. It has the nutrients to support the aging brain. But let me add the line no one ever tells you. Not if you eat it raw, and not every day. Especially not if you're over 60. You see, broccoli belongs to a family of vegetables called cruciferous veggies, right alongside cabbage, kale, and Brussels sprouts. And while they pack a punch nutritionally, they also come with a compound called goitrogens. Now I know, that word sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but what goitrogens do is very real. They interfere with your thyroid, the tiny gland in your neck that controls metabolism, heart rate, blood pressure, and brain oxygen delivery. In younger bodies, the thyroid can take the hit. But in older adults, whose thyroid function may already be slowing down, raw cruciferous vegetables can tip the balance, pushing you toward low thyroid function without you even knowing it. Let me share a case. Arthur Blake, 79, no relation, though I always liked the name, retired engineer, switched to a plant-based diet in his 70s to stay sharp, and he went all in. Daily smoothies, salads, even broccoli shots, raw, twice a day. At first, energy, clarity. He told me, "Doc, I feel younger." But within months, that story changed. Fatigue, brain fog, and then the numbness in his left hand. Then came the collapse, walking his dog, no warning. It was a mild ischemic stroke. A small clot had blocked a tiny artery in his brain. His labs told the story. Low thyroid hormone, sluggish heart rate, thickened blood. All pointing back to a quiet storm triggered by his daily dose of raw broccoli. That's the scary part. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't eating junk. He was trying to do everything right. But what worked at 40 didn't serve him at 79. So here's the takeaway. Broccoli is not the enemy, but raw broccoli every day after 60, especially with a slowing thyroid or circulation issues, can become a hidden danger. Steam it, cook it gently, eat it occasionally, not religiously. And most of all, if you're on thyroid meds or feeling unusually tired, talk to your doctor before going crucifer crazy. Because your brain doesn't just need fuel, it needs stability. Not the thrill of a superfood, but the quiet steadiness of balance. And next, we're moving from green stalks to garlic cloves. Yes, garlic, that magical cure-all that could, under the wrong conditions, thin your blood to the point of a brain bleed. Ready to go deeper? Let's talk garlic.
Let's talk about garlic, the golden child of natural medicine, the ancient healer, the kitchen staple passed down from grandma's recipes to TikTok wellness hacks. Lowers cholesterol, boosts immunity, keeps vampires and supposedly strokes at bay. But let me be painfully honest here. For some of my patients over 60, especially those on heart medications, garlic didn't prevent the stroke. It helped cause it. Here's why. Garlic contains a compound called allicin, a potent natural blood thinner. That's right, it reduces platelet aggregation, meaning your blood becomes less likely to clot. And that can be a good thing. But pair that with aspirin, Plavix, warfarin, or any other anticoagulant, suddenly you've got a chemical cocktail that's just a paper cut away from internal bleeding. I'm not being dramatic. I'm being clinical. Take Mrs. Joan Whitmore, 84, retired piano teacher from Oregon. Elegant, disciplined, sharp. She had atrial fibrillation, so she was on warfarin, monitored closely. But after reading an article about garlic reversing aging, she started taking 2 raw garlic cloves every night. She told me it made me feel energized. Until one evening, brushing her hair, she collapsed. No trauma, no fall, just down. Brain scan showed a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding in the brain. Her INR, a test that shows how thin the blood is, had skyrocketed. Not from the warfarin dose, that was steady, but from the raw garlic, which had quietly amplified the medication's effect far beyond what her blood vessels could handle. And here's the quote I'll never forget. "I didn't think garlic could hurt me. It's food, not a drug." But when you're over 60, food is a drug. It's chemistry, and chemistry always has consequences. So here's what you need to know. Garlic isn't evil, but it's not harmless either, especially raw, especially daily, especially if you're on meds that affect your heart, blood pressure, or clotting. A little garlic here and there cooked into your meals, probably fine. But popping raw cloves before bed like some natural supplement? That's not healing, that's gambling. And now, for the most unexpected twist of all, a vegetable no one ever talks about. No wellness influencer makes smoothies with it, but it's sitting quietly in your fridge, ready to constrict your arteries and trigger a stroke when you least expect it. Yes, we're talking about eggplant.
And now, eggplant. The forgotten vegetable. No one's putting it in smoothies, no one's building a diet around it. But maybe that's the danger. It hides in plain sight. Eggplant looks innocent. It's got fiber, antioxidants, low calories. It's in every heart-healthy recipe from the Mediterranean to the Midwest. But eggplant is also a member of the nightshade family, along with tomatoes, peppers, and potatoes. And in that family lives a compound called solanine. Now, solanine isn't poison, not in the way arsenic is, but in older bodies, especially those with poor circulation, chronic inflammation, or neurological vulnerabilities, solanine can constrict your blood vessels. Let me say that again. Constrict your vessels. That means your arteries narrow, blood flow slows, and your brain, the hungriest organ in your body, doesn't get the oxygen it needs. Enter Franklin Monroe, 82. Retired railroad mechanic, Kentucky tough, still mowed his lawn by hand, loved to cook, especially eggplant parmesan, twice a week, like clockwork. But he started noticing weird things: tired legs, cold fingers, a slight pressure in his chest walking up the stairs. His doctor chalked it up to age. Then one morning, he didn't get up, collapsed in the driveway. Ischemic stroke. A clot had blocked the left side of his brain. His cholesterol was fine, his sugar too, but his labs showed vascular inflammation, slowed blood flow, and markers consistent with solanine sensitivity, all pointing back to one habit: frequent, high-volume consumption of eggplant and other nightshades in a body that could no longer process them the same way. He told me, months later, from a wheelchair, "Doc, I thought I was eating smart. I didn't know I was slowly cutting off my own blood supply." And that's the point. Eggplant isn't toxic. It's not dangerous in small amounts. But in older adults with fragile circulation or underlying neurovascular risks, nightshades can quietly erode the stability of your system. They don't cause chaos overnight. They whisper. They chip away until one day your balance is gone, your speech is slurred, and you're staring down the barrel of something that should have been preventable. So here's my guidance. Eat eggplant occasionally. Cook it thoroughly, never raw, And if you already have issues with circulation, thyroid, or unexplained dizziness, bring it up with your doctor. Yes, even your vegetables need a second opinion. Now, after all this, spinach, cucumbers, broccoli, garlic, eggplant, you might be wondering, what can I eat? What's actually safe for the aging brain? I'm glad you asked, because next, we're going to rebuild, not with hype or gimmicks, but with real food, the kind that doesn't just feed you, it protects you. Let's talk about what to eat instead.
So, what should you eat? Let's rebuild. After hearing that 5 of the most trusted vegetables can quietly set the stage for a stroke, you might be feeling what many of my patients have felt. What the hell am I supposed to eat, doc? That's a fair question, and it deserves more than a headline or a one-size-fits-all answer. Because your brain, it doesn't need a superfood. It needs stability, rhythm, clean fuel, the kind that supports your blood vessels, your nerves, your hormones, at this stage in your life. Let me tell you about Margaret Wilson, 73, retired school principal, fiercely independent. She came into my clinic with a drawer full of supplements and a heart full of frustration. Vitamin D for bones, vitamin E for circulation, a nightly brain-boosting smoothie packed with spinach, garlic, eggplant, everything clean. And yet, every morning, dizziness, memory slips, blood pressure spikes by dawn. She looked me in the eye and said, "I'm doing everything right. Why do I feel worse?" So we cleared the clutter. No powders, no miracle gummies, just real food, the kind her great-grandmother would have recognized. Here's what her new breakfast looked like. A boiled egg, gentle protein, rich in choline for brain cells. A few slices of avocado, healthy fat to stabilize blood sugar and support cell membranes. A slice of whole-grain toast, not gluten-free cardboard, but real sprouted grains for slow energy. A handful of blueberries loaded with polyphenols that protect your neurons like tiny shields. A glass of room-temperature water, no lemon, no chia seeds, just hydration your brain can actually absorb. Sometimes we added walnuts or a piece of wild salmon for omega-3s. That was it. Simple, intentional, timed with her meds. And you know what happened? Within weeks, her dizziness faded, her thinking sharpened, her blood pressure no longer danced the morning tango. She looked me in the eye and said, "I'm feeling like I'm finally feeding my brain, not just stuffing it with good intentions." That's the difference. Real food doesn't cause spikes. It doesn't thin your blood to the point of danger or starve your brain in your sleep. It supports, it sustains, it heals when used right. But here's the final warning I gave to Margaret and now I'll give to you. Even these brain-loving foods, eggs, berries, avocado, they only work when you respect the bigger picture. Timing, hydration, medications, sleep rhythms. It's not just about the food. It's about your body's current state, not the one you had at 40. And that leads us into the most powerful tool you have, the one thing that determines more than any diet, drug, or supplement. We're going to end this journey with what I believe is the most overlooked medicine after 60. And that's coming up next. Awareness is the most powerful medicine after 60. So here we are. After everything we've unpacked, the spinach, the cucumbers, the broccoli, the garlic, the eggplant, you might be left wondering, what can I trust anymore? Let me give it to you straight. It's not the food that saves you. It's your awareness of how your body responds to it.
Right now, at this age, in this season of life. Because after 60, your body isn't broken. It's different. More delicate, yes, but also more refined. Like an old violin, richer in tone, but less forgiving when mishandled. Your kidneys filter slower. Your liver metabolizes differently. Your brain? More sensitive than ever to shifts in hydration, pressure, electrolytes, and blood chemistry. And that's not something a label tells you. That's something life teaches you, if you're paying attention. Most strokes I've seen in older patients didn't come from junk food or neglect. They came from good intentions paired with bad timing. A nightly green smoothie with raw spinach, cucumber slices before bed, raw garlic on top of blood thinners, a salad loaded with broccoli, eggplant 3 times a week because it's heart healthy. It wasn't ignorance. It wasn't laziness. It was simply not knowing that the rules had changed. The tragedy is, they were trying, but the body doesn't reward effort. It responds to alignment. So if there's one message I want to tattoo onto your memory today, it's this. Awareness is the most powerful medicine you have. Not turmeric, not supplements, not even prescriptions. Just your ability to slow down, ask hard questions, and pay close attention to what your body is whispering. Because most warnings don't come with sirens. They come as a dry mouth, a dizzy spell, a heavy leg. Ignore it, and you might wake up a different person, or not at all. But here's the beauty. You're still here. You're listening. You're learning. That means you're already on the path. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are wiser now than ever, and you have the power to protect what matters most. Your brain, your body, your independence. So please, take this moment seriously. Leave a comment below with the number 1 if this message resonated with you. If it didn't, type 0. Your feedback helps me grow and serve you better. Hit that like button if you learned something today. Subscribe to the channel, because the science doesn't stop here. And share this episode with someone you care about, a spouse, a friend, a parent, before another silent stroke steals something they can never get back. Because at this age, knowledge isn't just power. It's prevention. It's freedom. It's the difference between staying sharp or slipping quietly into decline. Until next time, I'm Dr. Ethan Blake, and this is the Blake Lab Podcast. Not just theory, practical science for real people.